It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 846. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Please don't forget to visit my YouTube page, and that's youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS, and there you'll find all the videos for all the shows. This show is brought to you by Instant Housecall. If you are an IT pro or an MSP, this is what you need. Instant Housecall provides unattended and on-demand remote access. And you can try it free by clicking on the link on my website. There's a big banner on the left-hand side for Instant Housecall. Click on that, and you will have the ability to sign up for a free 15-day trial. Just use the promo code MikeTechShow. And you can also just go directly to instanthousecall.com. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. The first thing when you have a client, you need to ask them, after you get their pain points for what's bothering them, and this could be one of their pain points, ask them, what is your backup strategy? What do you use? Are you happy? Have you tested it? And this is your opportunity to sell MagnusBox. Your client will love you because it is the best online backup service. It's secure. You can make it encrypted. They're HIPAA compliant. They work across all the platforms that you would ever use. Synology. You can even back up Office 365, any Windows, Mac, Linux. This is it. And if you go to magnusbox.com, you can download a free trial, a demo, and you have all the same features as paying partners. You're going to love it. And when you do sign up, make sure you tell them that you heard it on the Mike Tech Show, because you'll get free white labeling for your company and 50% off the platform fee for your first 3 months. Go to magnusbox.com. All right. I have a show where Instant Housecall asked me to remind everybody something, anybody that's using Instant Housecall. So I got an important announcement that you want to listen. An Outlook tip. We're going to talk about Calendly, and we're going to talk about Notesnook, and a couple emails, stories from the trenches. So here we go. All right. So first, let's begin with anybody who's using Instant Housecall. People need to upgrade their unattended access endpoints before January 1st, 2023. This is important because if you don't, you're going to lose access to those endpoints until they do an upgrade, because there's a big version upgrade to version 7. Upgrading is simple. Connect to the endpoint, then click yes when you're prompted to upgrade. Now, it takes a minute or two, and then you're going to be able to reconnect. The system will take care of the rest. If you're not sure if your endpoint should be upgraded, with the new specialist upgrade, there's a new column in the unattended access screen that shows an asterisk if the endpoint isn't upgraded. So, big announcement. You've got to make sure. You got a couple months now. We're starting to bang away at this for all of our clients with Instant Housecall. So when we get that prompt, we're now clicking yes. So the upgrade is performing. So take care of that. All right. And you're going to like the new features and the new layout. Takes a minute to get used to because it's way different now. the screens. But you could tell the software's maturing even more, and the UI's more. It's more current, and it's really nice. So check it out. Stories from the trenches. We love Fabs Auto Backup 7 Pro. And boy, did my son have to use that with remotely migrating one laptop to another. So after he got connected to both laptops, the first one, we made sure they had an external drive. She plugged it in. My son did a full Fabs backup to the external drive. And then what you would do is then he took the other laptop, made sure Office was installed and a lot of other programs, because we'll go to 9-Night and make sure, 7-Zip and all the browsers that we need are there. Then she plugs in the drive. He downloads Fabs. We have a zip file in a private area online, so we can zip that. We can download that to a remote client. Then he would do a restore. Then have her unplug the drive, the external drive, did a reboot, bang. Perfect. Everything good. And all the data, email, transferred. It's why we love Fabs. I mean, he took a few hours doing it, but client is extremely happy. Though, here's a story today. She installed her own driver for a Brother printer at her house. Now, I don't know what she did wrong, but every time she picked portrait, it printed landscape. Every time she printed landscape, it printed portrait. So we didn't get a chance. We were so busy, my son and I today. I emailed her and said, try uninstalling the driver, because I've never heard of that, and just redo the driver from scratch. I said, maybe the printer needs a firmware update. We'll have to check on that. And she did the new driver, and that fixed it. I don't know what happened, but that was interesting. 2 employees for a real estate company that is one of our MSP clients. And both of them, when I remoted in, because each one had a different issue. And when I remoted in and I needed to save something to their desktop, there was a million PDFs and they were all Chrome icons. So the first thing I knew, are they happy with the default PDF being Chrome? Probably not. So the first thing she says, yeah, I don't have time to move all these PDFs. I said, I can do this very quickly. So I go into the desktop from Windows Explorer and I create a PDF files folder. Then I sort by type. I highlight all the PDFs and quickly drag that to the folder, and miraculously the desktop was usable again. How do people work like that? And there's a lot of clients, and I know a lot of you are laughing right now saying, yes. Why do they do that? And then how can they continue to operate? I couldn't find anything. But it's like organized chaos. I get the user knows where things are. But when a stranger connects, and I connect and I look at that and I'm like, oh no, please. Just like having a background that you can't read the icons because the background's so overwhelming. Any of my desktops is a solid color for that reason. I don't want the interference. Yes, it would be nice to have family pictures and everything, but you know what? It's hard sometimes if you have icons there. So now I'm trying to think, I know what her problem was. She could not she stopped logging into Proofpoint Essentials and her password didn't work and she didn't know what to do. And so I reset her password for her. And then in Proofpoint as the admin, and then showed her because there were some things being quarantined that she needed to release to her email. Okay, that's one. So now she says, oh, don't go. I'm going to connect you to the receptionist because there's someone else. And I get connected, and he had trouble printing also. I hate working on printer problems, but I do, and we can always solve them. I try to push that to my son to do. So I fix the printer problem by redoing the driver. 9 times out of 10, that's going to fix a problem. But this one had a unique issue also, because it wasn't just the printing. He has a job code, an accounting code, because there are different agents that have different codes, so they can be billed per click when they're there printing. So a lot of companies do this and then bill whoever's in there because they have this accounting code. And you got to know where to plug that in. And every driver is different, but for the Kia Sarah, I know where that is, and it's lucky. And I hadn't done that in a while, but I knew where to go into the administrator function of the printer driver. And then there's the job tab, and then accounting, and you put in the account number, and they don't have to then feed that account number in for every print job because that gets really annoying. But guess what? Hundreds and hundreds of little Google Chrome icons for PDFs. And again, I was like, since I had just cleaned it up so quickly, I said, would you like me to clean that up for you? And he's like, yes. And I did the same thing. So 2 people, same company. And you know what? Once every 3 months, my son is on site doing maintenance on site. And they usually keep a little punch list for less important things. But this time we got a big thing. When he's hitting each system, though, I am absolutely going to tell him about this, and then he should ask the user, and clean up their desktop if you can't see anything. We have 2 computers that are the systems for the 2 conference rooms that are Windows 8. We got to get them to Windows 10. We're going to do an in-place upgrade because by in the middle of this January, Windows 8, no more security updates. So just a reminder, and we had a note for Windows 8 upgrade. I'm also going to tell this to a client that's no longer on retainer, but we know they got a few Windows 8 systems, and they should also be aware of that. And that might give us more work in December. So let's see. This is interesting, and it's the first link for the show notes tonight. Outlook is, I don't know how the client accidentally did this, and you must be aware of this, I'm sure. So the first link is switching from working offline to online. And it's a Microsoft article because it was offline. He couldn't send any email. They were all stuck in his outbox. I remote in and I see that it's offline. I was like, wait a second. I got to just put you online somehow. I didn't know how he did it, but I had to look it up because I couldn't find it. And you have to go into the send receive tab, and there you will see the work offline, work online. So it said work online, and I'm like, ooh, okay. Boom, clicked it. There we go. All of his mail sent. We sent a test message back and forth. The same client asks me, how can he have an online calendar that he can promote in his email signature to schedule appointments? And that is a program that I've worked with a long time ago. And I've had to use this to schedule appointments for, hey, Matt Rodella, when I needed to talk with him about a website. And, he does a phenomenal job. And I will put a link to Matt's company. You need anything web-based that you want done. That's the man. He uses Calendly, and it's free. And all you do is sign up. There's a synchronization between Outlook and the online calendar. So you got to populate your Outlook with everything you would ever be doing for an appointment. So this way, no one will schedule an appointment with you and you're not available. So you make sure they're not going to see what you're doing. They're just going to know it's not available. And now you get a calendly.com/ with whatever name you're picking, maybe the company name, and you can schedule appointments. It's simple. It just works. It is easy to do the add-in link for Outlook, and I think it works with any of the email programs. So you should really, really check this out if you want some online meetings. And that's where I recommend you have the pro version of Zoom or whatever, because you don't want to be limited to 45 minutes. I made that mistake over a year ago. And boy, could you imagine an introduction meeting with a new client and Zoom expires because I didn't pay the $149 or whatever it was for a full year. Actually, it was cheaper than that. Look for online codes, but you should have the full Zoom so you're not going to run out of time. And then if this is your business model, lends itself for this, and then have Calendly. For me, it doesn't really fit. We don't need that. We're not going to have people coming by, but if you have a product or a service that you are selling, and this client does 401ks for businesses. So very important to set up that initial meeting and make it easy for the clients to meet. And I helped him adjust his signature so he was able to then, send any response or anything he ever emails anybody. There's a link right there to schedule a meeting with him. So Calendly, wanted to introduce that to you if you haven't already. Very, very, very cool. So let's see. I'm going to get to my notes here. Yes, let's get to some emails. And this one is from longtime listener, and it's an Evernote replacement, and it's Notesnook. And that's going to be a link in the show notes. Longtime listener here. I know you're always trying to find a notes software that works like Evernote or better, and that costs less, or better yet, free. Take a look at Notesnook. Link at the bottom. I've been using the paid pro version, which offers many of the same features as Evernote, but better, and also a cleaner user interface. It also has encryption, syncing, and note locking as well. See what you think? And I'm sure I'll hear you talking about it on your show, which I am. Have a blessed day, and I wish you and your family the best. You know what? Dennis, thank you so much. And regards to you, your family. It's Notesnook.com. And yes, it does look impressive. So Notesnook is an open source, zero knowledge, private note taking. So I'm like, okay. And let's get to the pricing, which it's not bad. For what the basic does, you can try it out. And I am going to try out the basic just to see what it's like. But only $49.99 a year. I think I pay $80 a year for Evernote. And it's got unlimited attachments, unlimited storage, private vault, export notes in PDF, HTML, and Markdown, a full rich text editor, and unlimited notebooks and tags. And you can even do a free trial of the pro version. So I am going to look at that and absolutely report back on it. If anybody is a current Notesnook user and you want to give me a review based on everything you've done, record the review as an MP3, attach it, email me, miketechshow@gmail.com, and I will play that on the air. So I'd really appreciate it. Haven't had any voicemails in a while. So please don't forget, if you got a question or you want to review something or talk about something or you got a comment on something I talked about, hey, absolutely do that. Now, I'm doing something. I have one more email, and then I'm going to do something different that I normally do in the beginning of the show. I'm going to do at the end of the show because I wanted to see how much time I had left. So let me read this email, and this is from Jason, and it's about DAC board. And by the way, I've gotten a lot of great response on DAC board, on people that use it and love it, and that is so cool. Hey, Mike, just heard you talk about DAC board on the show. I've been using it for quite a while for some our projects and internal use. Below is a photo of the schedule for an event calendar. We installed DAC OS on a Raspberry Pi for this one. Internally, we have a welcome board at the shop with some things such as weather, currently playing a song on Spotify, and some photos and whatnot. Then in the repair room, we have one with everyone's schedule, so we can tell what is going on at a glance. We also have all of our parts deliveries that are added to their own calendar, which is also pulled into this display so we can see what is being delivered that day for projects, etc. That is an awesome way on how to use this. So I know there's ways and there's things for scheduling. And right now, because everything's so contained right here and I'm by myself most of the time for my work, where my wife's down here, my son's, come down different times for different events and things. I can't find the use for it, but I can back in Pennsylvania possibly. So I haven't rolled it out, but this is something you really should look at that. And that's DAC board. Lots of incredible ways you can use that and incorporate it into your business or not your business, even personal life. You got a big family, you can have a DAC board in the kitchen that maybe has everybody's schedule on it and then the weather, and then that would be a cool use for a family. All right. I normally talk about personal stuff in the beginning of the show, and I actually forgot, I think. No. So I figured let me do this at the end because I do have a few minutes. My sister, was great seeing her. My sister Ann, we have not spent any time together. And I mean, I'm 61. She's older than me. We've never spent this kind of time together. And since we both like Stevie Nicks and she's not far from me in Florida, she was able to drive down. It's like 4 hours. She was able to stay with me. And Tuesday night, we seen Stevie Nicks live. Incredible concert. It was just wonderful. But something has happened now that, and while she was here over the weekend, I was going to say suffer through watching the Phillies, but it was a lot of fun. My Philadelphia Phillies, and anybody who watches YouTube with me knows, you see my room. I'll call it fan cave / office is completely surrounded by Phillies memorabilia, paintings. It's unbelievable what I've put together here. My beloved Phillies have clinched the National League championship, and they are now going to be playing in the World Series starting tomorrow night. As a matter of fact, right now I'm wearing my Phillies postseason shirt. And it is amazing because we're the underdog. And Philadelphia thrives on that. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, we were the underdog all the way through the playoffs. And what was great is the players, when they come out onto the field for football, when they're announced, a few of them had dog masks on as they would come out. We just thrive on being the underdog. And I'm so glad we're playing Houston, because no offense to anybody in Houston or the surrounding area, but a lot of the country is rooting for the Phillies. And the Phillies are a massive underdog in this World Series, and that's what we like. So I'm hoping when I'm on the air next Thursday, the Phillies will be crowned world champions, because my prediction, and I've never done this on the show, but I really shouldn't. I think they're going to win tomorrow night, game 1, lose game 2 in Houston, but then they got to come back to Philly for those 3 games. And anybody that was watching the NLCS, seen what we did to the Padres and the way Philadelphia it's an incredible Red October, and they went nuts, and it really motivated the players. It was an incredible scene to watch, and so much fun. And I'm going to quote a Philadelphia writer, and someone I follow on Facebook put this out there early on, and it is very appropriate as we watch the Phillies in the postseason. The writer said, "Watching the Phillies in the postseason is like watching a loved one disable a bomb." And I can't think of a more accurate description, because that's exactly what it feels. It is so tense, but ultimately fun. The Phillies should never have even gotten to this point this year. They had a horrible first half of the season. That's why you can't write them off. And I had to take a couple minutes just to talk about this. So anyway, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see, posts, about the Phillies. And I even changed my Facebook main header to the Phillies picture after they clinched. So that's it. Go Phillies. And make sure, don't forget, check out Instant Housecall. Fab's Auto Backup Pro 7, the best. Magnus Box for all your backup needs. That's it. Everybody stay safe. Have a great week. And I'll see you back here next week. Same time, same channel. Bye-bye, everybody.